The fact is, this all plays into what my client, the President of the United States, has been saying for quite some time. The judge, in sum and substance, said this is a witch hunt with a tremendous amount of government misconduct attached to it. And you're quite correct. Attorney General Sessions should step up and dismiss this entire investigation.
Rudy Giuliani, now lead attorney for the President of the United States, saying on Fox last night that the Attorney General should shut down the Mueller investigation. I want to bring in live Devin Nunes. You know him, of course, the Republican from California who's chairman of the House Intel Committee. Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
It's great to be with you guys.
I wonder if you can react to that from Rudy Giuliani, but I also understand that you have some news about Jeff Sessions.
Well, yeah, this is the ongoing problem here with this special counsel. We found out Friday from the judge. It kind of looks like this whole investigation has gone off the rails. Now, what we've been investigating in the House Intelligence Committee is FISA abuse and other matters involving the beginning of what is called a counterintelligence investigation. Now, remember, they opened up this counterintelligence investigation. I think this is really important for the American people to understand. This is done in a secret manner. If you have a counterintelligence investigation opened up on you as an American citizen, this is done secretly with only a few people's knowledge. And if they go to court, they go to a secret court to get a warrant on you, like they did with Carter Page. So there is a very small apparatus in the Congress in our country that holds the check and balance authority between Congress and the executive branch. And when the Obama administration decided to move forward on a counterintelligence investigation in a campaign of all things, that's how we've gotten to here. So we continue to peel the onion back. And I'll tell you what happened 2 weeks ago. We sent a letter to Attorney General Jeff Sessions, a classified letter. Per usual, it was ignored, not acknowledged, just completely ignored. So last week we sent a subpoena, and then on Thursday we discovered that they are not going to comply with our subpoena.
So what are you going to do about it?
Very important information that we need.
So what are you going to do?
The only thing left that we can do is we have to move quickly to hold the Attorney General of the United States in contempt, and that's what I'm going to press for this week.
And what would that mean? What are you specifically holding him in contempt for, and what does break that down? What that means for viewers?
So we've asked for very important information. It's still classified, right? This is the problem with a lot of this investigation.
Sure.
Because of the way they conducted the investigation, most of this information is classified. But because this is so important, I'm not going to take any excuse to say, oh, we're harming national security. You know, how many times have we heard that argument throughout this entire investigation? You know, we've had to take people to court to get the information. You know, we shouldn't have had to take Fusion GPS to court in order to find out that the Democrats and the Hillary Clinton campaign had paid for the dirty dossier. Remember the dirt that was used to get a FISA warrant on the Trump campaign?
Right.
We shouldn't have had to do that. So we're just not going to take this nonsense of every time we peel something back, every time we need information, we get ignored, we get stalled, we get stonewalled, and then lo and behold, we get accused of we're going to destroy the nation's ability to keep it secure.
So pardon me, but what are you going to do then? Are you going to force a vote in Congress to hold the Attorney General of the United States in contempt of Congress? Walk us through what you're actually going to do about it.
So the next step this week is we will have to lay out, and we will probably have to go to court in order to enforce this subpoena. So we've been in discussions over the weekend with our general counsel for the United States Congress. Now remember, we did this with Lois Lerner, and we did this also with Attorney General Holder. But I think this is going to be a much different case where I can't imagine that the Attorney General Jeff Sessions is going to defend not providing pertinent documents.
Right. I mean,
very important documents to Congress.
This is a very big deal, and so far you're saying you have heard nothing from Jeff Sessions and from his office. Is that right?
Well, I'm not even sure we heard from the legislative director for the Department of Justice, but you know, I don't know that the Attorney General is even aware of our request.
Well, he will be now. So how do you expect he'll respond, if at all?
Well, I think we need to talk to the Attorney General to make sure he understands the significance of this request. I have already talked to the director of the FBI that we need this request. And so this just can't continue where we don't get information in a timely manner. And like I said, everything we've tried to get, they try to stop us from getting.
Now, Friday night, you also, I don't want to get lost in all these headlines, there you released an unclassified version, a kind of a new version of your report, most recent report that got into the DOJ and the FBI improperly using redactions to protect people like James Comey. You can get into that, but also with General Flynn, it turns out, James Comey told our own Brett Baer a week or so ago, he didn't remember the idea that the FBI agents didn't believe General Flynn was lying. Your report says something much different.
Yeah, this is one of the challenges, again, in a classified setting shortly after the two agents interviewed General Flynn. This was just a couple months after, maybe a month after. We learned that the two agents didn't believe that General Flynn was lying. Now, we all knew what was because of the felony leak of classified information to the New York Times and the Washington Post regarding the call between General Flynn and the Russian ambassador. We knew about that. So clearly there was some confusion because the agents didn't think that Flynn was lying, and Mr. McCabe even testified that they had a challenge to even bring any charges against Flynn, that he would be lying to the FBI. That was under oath shortly after the interview. This information is well over a year old, and we put that in a report. Remember, people forget, we sent our report over to the intelligence agencies, including the FBI and Department of Justice, 6 weeks ago. And it wasn't until Friday night that finally we get all the black markings.
Friday
night. They went
night.
away so that the American people could understand what actually happened here.
What is the biggest question that still remains in your mind when you look at the scope and the size now of this investigation, how many legs it's taken on? In your opinion, what is the biggest question that remains?
Well, I put it into a few different buckets. Let me just rattle through them. There's the bucket of FISA abuse and other matters that we were looking into, the counterintelligence investigation that was started on the Trump campaign. That's what we're doing in the Intelligence Committee. You have the IG report that's coming out, and then you have Chairman Gaddy and Chairman Goodlatte who are looking into the Clinton email investigation and all things from that. Those are two buckets, and then you have the third bucket, which is the special counsel, which I don't know which direction it's going. It's hard to even know what they're doing at this point.
Yeah, and you, like many others, probably frustrated with the fact that it hasn't been constrained. We have to leave it right there, unfortunately. Devin Nunes, thanks for
all that
news. Sorry
news.
about your loss, too, Pete. I apologize.
Hey, maybe you can host us on Capitol Hill. We'll have a competition.
They say that the more you peel back the onion, the more is seen. I have the highest regard for the true deep diving investigative reporters that we have working for the people. People like Judicial Watch or Sarah Carter, Sean Hannity, all the people he brings on his program. Well, there are many others that we don't know their names, we don't know who they are, but they're the real unsung heroes of our time, the truthers who bring forth the facts. Sometimes it takes a little while to believe, but the more the onion is peeled back, the more all of these things that have at one time been called conspiracy theories come to the light and are seen as the truth they are.